Hello and welcome to the AFL Auto Blends 3D Car Creations channel. This part 4, is about setting up the image box and putting in the necessary loop cuts ready to start the sculpting and modelling process. Before we start, I'd like to show you how to because whilst you're modelling, you'll want a reference image. If you've got another monitor like I have, that's handy. You can keep glancing over to your other monitor to have a look. But another way of doing it is if you get your cursor and go all the way up to here until you've got a little cross up there, and just click on it and then drag it across. What you're doing is opening up another window. Okay. So just click in the top there and look for image editor. Okay, open, go to your reference images, navigate to there. So in this instance mine are reference images. Right, we don't want that. That's the blueprints. So if we go to mine are in there, okay. So if we choose this one, open image, and there you are. So you can scroll on your middle mouse button, hold the middle mouse button round to move it around, and you can also shrink this to whatever size you want. Always find this handy to go through and look at the car before I model anything. So just a point on that. If we notice the car, the things we must take note of is the curvature of there. I mean, it's fairly straight across there, but there is curvature there. You've got this belt line that goes up over the fender wing all the way down, recesses into the door. Okay, and then it goes up over the rear fender. So that's quite a significant line. We've got a little dink here, little offset there. Okay, and then we've got curves that go in all directions around the headlights. So these are all points of reference that we need to look at to make sure that our model is as close to the real one as possible. If you notice here, this is slightly recessed for the grille. Also there is recessed for the grille. Not actually doing this actual one, but there's another recessed look around the fender. So all these little things are quite pointed in terms of how we can get it to match our model to match this. Okay. Anyway, so I'll just minimize this, just drag it across because we don't need it at this particular moment in time. So hopefully you'll all be got similar to what I've got here. Got my reference images up, my blueprints. Okay, I've locked them all off. Okay, if you click this button here and hold that down, all the selection there, if it's white, you can click on it and select it. Okay, we don't want to do that, they're in place. So what we'll do is just click on there, hold the left mouse button and just drag down. Okay, that hides it. We'll minimize the blueprints because we don't need to mess about with them. So what I've got set up is my studio, which I showed in a previous video. This little button here disables it. So that's enabled now. We don't want it enabled at this particular time, so we'll get rid of that. We've got nothing in guide meshes, but the guide mesh now is what we're creating. So any new mesh goes into there at this stage. Okay, so if we get to side view, so press 3 on your numpad, press in object mode, click Shift and A, and add a mesh cube. Okay, so you can either press N on the keyboard or use this little or use this little arrow, and that brings up your scale and dimensions and everything else. So the location on Z, we want the bottom of that cube sitting on the baseline, so press 1. And that sits it right, as you can see, that sits it right on the tyre level, so on the y-axis. Okay, so if we want to fill that in, it's press Z and choose solid. So press Z, and you've got a choice of wireframe, render view, material preview, or solid. We generally use these two. Okay. Also, you've got your little gizmo. I like when I'm selecting, I like the cursor or the gizmo to be on my wherever I'm selecting. So if you click on this button here, that little arrow, the second one there, the little arrow there, okay, click on there and click it to move, and then you'll see what happens if I click off it. If I click off it, look, the little arrows go. Okay, so that's just a little tip. And then to get rid of that menu, just press N or drag that button. Okay, so I like to resize everything in edit mode. So press Tab key or click up here to go from object to edit mode. Okay. Right, so go back into wireframe view. Now, if you're selecting a box, right, and you click on B for box select, dragging across the items that you want. In wireframe view, you'll pick the ones at the back, but if you're in solid view, you'll only pick the ones at the front. So that's why I like to go into wireframe view. Anyway, so we've selected those, so we use a little arrow here, pull across, and it's just to the body. So try not to press the right mouse button like I just did. So move it across all the way to here. Doesn't have to be too accurate at the moment. I get a little bit OCD when I'm doing this. But it doesn't have to be too accurate. Okay, make sure nothing's selected. So press the A button a few times to make sure everything's deselected. Press B again, drag across, and then drag out to the rear of the car. So the rear of the tail light, just here. Okay. Now we need the height. So you press B across the top, drag down. We'll do that at the top of the bonnet. At this stage, I'm not interested necessarily in the windshield because I'm going to do various versions of this car, and so I'm going to just use the body as the starting point. In this version, I'm not intending to model the hood, the roof. Don't like the shape. It doesn't really interest me, but I will at some point do it just to add to one of the models, just for showing the model off. Okay, so in the side view we've got the box in relatively good place. I like to drag the bottom, so select the bottom. I like to drag the bottom to the bottom of the underside because it saves a bit of time dragging up vertices later. So do that. Okay, so that, going back into solid mode, so that at the moment is you've boxed out the side view. So if you press keypad 1, we're now in the front view. So press Z to get, or Z to get into wireframe. Now at this point we're going to mirror. We're going to mirror the work, because we don't want to work on both sides. So in view 1, press B, select everything on the left side, and before you do that, put a loop cut in the center. So Control R, put a loop cut in, okay? And then make sure everything's deselected. Press B, drag over this and delete. So press X and delete the vertices, okay? Press Tab or click up here to go into object mode. For demonstration purposes, just click on the solid. The solid. We then go into this little spanner. That is where you add all your modifiers. So you click on there to add in a modifier, and we click on mirror. Okay. So click on mirror and add in clipping. So if you do Control A, so we apply it, Control A, rotation, etc. So it's not mirrored. Oh, what have I done wrong? Oh, I see. Right, so Z. Right, so we mirrored it on the Z axis, okay? So make sure that's Z. So there's your 3. So go back to the front, press Tab, get into edit mode, B, select the vertices and come across. Now if you remember in the when I was setting up the blueprints, I didn't think this was wide enough. So before we set the width, just go into the top view and just drag it out on the top view to the edge of the fender there. I know the perspective's off on this, and as I said earlier, I'm not taking too much notice apart from on the top view, apart from this, and just getting the general shape on our model. Okay, so we click out of that, go back into keypad 1. So as you can see now, we're a little bit wider than that. We're at the right height. So we've got our top view done. A back view should press Control 1 for back view. Now don't forget that's capturing the front fender. So we're just gonna do a little bit of sculpting on here just to make the car look a little bit wider. Okay. So go back to the side view. In the side view, it's important we add in loop cuts for the reference points that we think are important on this car. So typically the middle of the wheel, so Control R, move it across and get it roughly to the centre of the wheel vertically. Do the same at the back, drag it across, get to the centre of the wheel, there. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. Another reference point is the front of the fender, so press Control R there, drag it to the front of the rear fender. We'll drag another one here for the door, because that's an interesting point as well, because we've got a bit of a curve here, so it's best to get not too many vertices, but as many as we can. click on here, there's a good reference point here, which is where the hood ends. Because on this particular vehicle, the hood hinges here and lifts up. Okay, so put a loop cut here, which signifies the end of the hood. A loop cut here to, I don't think we really need one there at this point in time, so I'll just move it to the fender. Now the fender's really curved, it's not, there's no real, so put it to the centre of that, so about there will do. We want another one at the front here to highlight that. That's an important piece as well, because not only have you got the start of the front fender curving round into the wheel, but you've also, it's almost at the back of the headlight. Okay, so what other reference do we need? Now this is quite a curve, so I'm going to put another one here, which signifies the curve in the rear back fender. Okay, I'm going to put another one here because of this, there's a bit of a curve there. Try not to get too many in there, but keep them as equally spaced as you can. And I'm going to put another one here because of this curve. It's a hell of a curve there, so I need to get that right. Okay, so if you press Z or Z, then click into solid, just scroll around, and that's what we got at the moment, just a box. But what it is, what it's done is put in significant vertical points to help us in the sculpting process. Okay, so go back to 3, press Z and click wireframe. Now the only one I'm going to put in horizontally at this particular time is the centre of the wheel. Because what we do in this method, in this sculpting method, is to get the height of the side view before we put in any extra curves or extra detail horizontally. Okay, so we've got that set up now. So now in edit mode, in wireframe view, what we've got to do here now is just box select, so B, left mouse click, drag across. All we're doing is dragging down to reference points on the car. I think I'm going to put that up because I'll put it to there. Okay, and click out of it, press B, box select, scroll up a bit. As I say, you don't need to be too accurate at the moment because we're just boxing out the shape. So I'll put that up again, as you can see why. Just helps us with the sculpting later on. Okay, so we'll move on, do this one next. So drag down. If you want to more finite movement, so you're pulling away on this axis, and sometimes it goes too far or too quickly. Yeah. Or if you hold the shift key, that slows it all down and you can get more finite detail. Okay, just a little tip. So B, and every time you move on, make sure that you still haven't got your last selection, else you'd be moving that as well. Okay, so B, get this, and we'll just drag this down to the top of the fender. I'm going to leave that one there because that seems to be in a good place at the top of the windshield. So this one's next. So go down to here. As you can see, we're going to need another one here at some point. So might as well do it now. Put one here. So Control R, click out, box select, and pull down. Okay, so click out, B, box select, select this next one, and down. Okay, so click out, box select, and down. So just clicking down, that's right. Cool. And B, box select, and down. Now I think we need another one here. So I'll put another one there. I'm not making this necessarily low poly, but we want to restrict. So I'll put that up to there. We want to restrict the number if we can. So B, down, click out, B, select, down, and the last one, B, select, and down. So go to there. Okay. Now we've got the bottom row. Okay, so select that one, drag it up to about there, drag that one up to about there, and this one, we'll drag it up. Now some of these now can be moved across, so we'll move that one across. Okay, and likewise with this one up here that we've got down, just move it across. And pull it down. Okay, so what else we got? These are roughly in place. Might drag them up a bit more, so B, get range here, and then just put it up slightly. Here. Okay. That's sitting just a little bit lower, so highlight that. Click on there. B. Highlight these. Move up there. Okay, so fine tune this a little bit, just move it in there just to get the start of that curve. And the same with this one. Over there and move it up to get the start of that curve. And then this one, so B, make sure we got it, drag it across to there. Okay, so that's the start of our mesh. I want to keep these videos no more than 30 minutes. You don't want to hear me droning on for that long. Anyway, it doesn't look much at the moment, but that is the start of your cube. So we'll call that, we'll double click in there, and we'll call it body underscore guide. So that's the guide mesh. Okay, so that's the start of our little car. Rough shape. In the next part, we'll be starting the sculpting process. Okay, thank you for watching.